Hello, horror fans and supernatural fans. This is Jason with the Terror Express, and with us today, we have a horror icon that many of you will know, all of you will know as Alice from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 4 and 5. We have Lisa Wilcox with us today. Hello, Lisa, and thank you for coming on to the Terror Express. I'm so excited
Well,
to have you here.
well, thank you. Thank you for having me for a great cause.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to jump right into the supernatural. Have you had an encounter with a supernatural experience that you can share with us?
I have had a supernatural experience.
Mm,
Um, so I was about 18 years old and I was driving. We had moved to California when I was a teenager. Anyway, so I had a modeling job for the weekend to do from Irvine up in LA. So my friend said, "Oh, I'm going to be out of town. You can use my flat." So his apartment, but I call it a flat because there's an area in Los Angeles called Los Feliz, and it's where the Griffith Park is, and beautiful old historic homes.
mm.
And this particular house, they had converted one whole floor into an apartment. So, and then my friend says, I'll leave the key under the mat. That's when you could leave a key under the mat. And,
Yes, yes. The good
and
old
he
days.
said, and by the way, I have a poltergeist. I'm like, "You have a poltergeist?"
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm
yeah.
like, okay, whatever. So I get up to the house, get up to the place about 10 o'clock at night. Cannot get that door to unlock. It will not unlock. So I had his mom's phone number. So I called her, and she lived 5 minutes away. She was able to unlock it, no problem. Okay, that's the first sign.
Yeah.
So I get to bed, I leave in the morning to go do my stuff, go do my job. And I had, of course, I'd used the bathroom, and there was he'd left his blow dryer, which I utilized, and it was in a hanging basket above the sink. Okay, so come back from my job. The blow dryer is now in the sink, and I know I put it in the basket, and it wouldn't, the basket hadn't moved, or
Right.
anything.
No way it can fall out.
No. And
Right.
my shampoo and conditioner bottles that were in the tub shower were now on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, those
There's
poltergeists are tricky little playful
there's there's
entities. Yeah.
there's no way that, and he had told me too that he was pretty sure it was a she.
Mhm.
And she liked to move glasses around in the kitchen cabinet in the middle of the night. That's what he said. And one time she took a file box out of the closet. So anyway, I had my experience, but more to the story is the master bath and the bathroom. It's an ensuite. So when I'm doing my makeup or whatever, I can see into the master bedroom. I see an impression go
Uh-huh.
down on the mattress, like
Uh-huh.
someone is sitting there.
Yes. Creepy. Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
So what did you
So
do when you saw this weight of nothing sitting
I
on the mattress?
turned around, and then it lifted up. That was it. And
It was almost
that
like it
night,
was coming after you. If you turn around
no,
and it
I think
lifted up,
if it was a she, she's like, "Oh, she's just
yeah,
what?" She's like, "Oh,
gee.
there's a girl here. I'm gonna watch her put on her makeup or something." I don't know. Um, and yeah, so I totally believe in the
Oh yeah.
supernatural. And that
Yes.
night, though, I slept with the lights on.
I would too. I would probably sleep on in the next door.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
scary.
so let's go back. Let's go back to the 1980s when you got the role of Alice Johnson on A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. So after you ended up auditioning and ending up in the rejection pile, from my understanding, because you were too
Yes.
pretty, uh, what were your emotions and your turn of events from the dream master to the dream child, from going to the rejection pile to the final girl where the script was obviously written for you?
It seems like it was, doesn't it? It was so me
Yes.
as a child growing
Yes.
up, but it was not. It was already
It
a
was.
body, a script, and I'm just so grateful that I finally did get the opportunity to audition for the role. And Annette Benson, who did the casting from Nightmare 1 through Nightmare 5,
Mhm.
tells me too that they literally auditioned hundreds of gals for the role of Alice, and they just couldn't find her, which is why they went back to the reject pile, right?
Yeah.
And I finally had my opportunity and read the script. And back then you got to read the whole script. And nowadays they hardly do that. They're so guarded against secrets being stolen and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I totally bonded with Alice right away. She's totally me as a child, as a young girl growing up. And I was shy, introverted. I could stay in my
Me too.
room all summer reading
Yes.
books, you
Yes, me too.
know.
I'm totally that person too.
Yeah, and we moved a lot, so you know, it was hard to make friendships and stuff. Of course, Alice
Mhm.
has good friends in the
Oh,
film,
yes.
you know, but
Yes.
but
Great
I
chemistry.
but I could, yeah, but I could totally just relate to Alice. And so I went with like no makeup on and like just flat, kind of dirty hair, and I wore pale yellow, which is my worst color.
Now you hear a lot of times where like a role would be written for someone and they would do it, and then a sequel would be written, and they would have to re-audition for the same role in future sequels. Did you have to do that with Alice, or was part 5 it was a sure thing for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
They called my
Okay.
agent, and
Yeah.
you know, we made a deal, and I came back.
Did they ever call you back about any of the other installments?
Mm-mm.
I would have loved to
Yep.
see Alice again. Now, you had mentioned about sometimes the scripts would be written and you could read the entire script back then. When part 4 was written, it was during the writer's strike.
Mhm.
So, how much of the script was written prior to being cast and filming, and how much of the script was ad-libbed by you or the other actors?
To the best of my recollection, actually, is the script was the script, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We, and you know, as actors, typically on a film, you're allowed to do some improvisation, but
Mm-hmm.
we do the script first. And then, or before we film, we'll talk to the director or writer, whatever, and say, you know, may I say this or add this or change this word or whatever, you know.
And
And
Rennie was
usually
pretty
they're
open
pretty
to that.
flexible.
Yeah, that's
So, but we
awesome.
did write one film, one scene, Andras and I did.
Mhm.
It's the scene where I'm in the den watching the video and Kristen has died. And Rick, my brother, Andras Jones, comes in and he's like, you know, what are you doing? You know, and I talk about the dream, and I could smell the smoke. I could feel
Mhm.
the fire or something
Oh,
like that.
yes.
So we wrote that scene together.
That's awesome. That's a scene that too, as soon as you said it, I knew exactly what scene it was. That's great. I love, and these are the things I love hearing. These are the things to share, the stories that I think are fun to share, kind of like the behind the scenes stuff. Now, Alice, obviously, she has become a pivotal character in the franchise. How has Alice changed your life personally? What's the best thing that Alice has brought to you personally, and what's the most challenging aspect of portraying Alice?
Portraying Alice has absolutely been wonderful because she has been such an inspiration for
Mhm.
so many people.
Mhm.
And that just is the biggest compliment in the whole world, you know.
Yes.
When people tell me, you know, how, you know, Alice pulled out of herself, you know, to
Yes.
fight evil, and she found that courage, you know, she found that strength that we
Mhm.
all have, you know, but it can be latent, you know.
Yeah.
So when people come up and just, I mean, say, you know, I watch Nightmare 4 all the time, and you just got me through such a hard time in my life, and that sort of thing. So that
Yep.
by far is the most biggest benefit.
Do you still have your script? Your original script from 4 or 5?
I so wish I did, because it would have those notes in there.
Mhm.
But one night I'm getting home. It's about 1:30 in the morning from filming on set all day, you know, and I'm walking up to my back door, and I'm tired, you know, anyway, and I'm just walking, and my head is down, and I see these huge white tennis shoe feet, And I look up and up and up and up and up and up, and there is a man standing there who proceeded to mug me.
No.
He put his whole his
Ugh.
huge hand over my face. I was wearing eyeglasses. I need them to drive. And the lenses were popped out, and my instinct, and I had my script bag and my handbag. And my instinct was just to do this. And I'm like trying to scream, and he like throws me on the ground, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then my neighbor upstairs heard the commotion and raised the window, and he's like, what's going on down there? Lisa, what's going on? Because it's dark,
Yeah.
And so the guy took off, but he grabbed my script bag. He grabbed it out. The strap broke. He pulled so hard, the strap broke, and he went running off with my camera and my script. Can you believe
horrible.
it?
No, that's horrible.
I know.
Did they? I mean, I know it's probably a far-fetched, but did they catch this guy that did that?
No, of course the police came and they checked out the garages that were all back there, but apparently it was two guys. The guy I ran into was the watch out guy. And then the other guy was, they found some cars that were broken into.
Wow. Talk about coming home at the wrong time. What a shame. Glad you're okay, though. That's the main thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
good thing the neighbor was looking out, too. It's good to have neighbors that pay attention to things
right?
out of the ordinary.
What's funny, though, is that so the neighbors comes out, the guys run off, and my husband comes running out the back door with the knife.
Good. Yes. Good.
With the butcher
Good.
knife.
Too bad we couldn't have gotten a little bit of blood drawn out of that one.
I know, right?
Who's to say who else he's done that
He
to?
was just a little late, but I'm glad he didn't have to harm anybody, and the guy ran away.
Right, and I hope karma caught up to him in some way, shape, or form. So, what to date has been your favorite character to play?
Alice Johnson is definitely in the top 5 for sure, no question about that. And there's a role I really loved on Walker, Texas Ranger, believe it or not. And it was a Christmas episode, and it was a very sad, touching episode. I play, it was called Saving Grace, and I play a nun. My name is Grace, and it's brother. But anyway, we filmed that in Dallas, and just really loved that character. I also loved playing Carol Brady.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who would love you? Did you play Carol Brady, or did you play Florence Henderson, or both?
Both, because we would do, like, we were on set doing an episode of the Brady Bunch, so I'm Carol, and then but then we would do scenes where, like, we're in the makeup trailer and we're talking and whatnot. So I got to play, both essentially. So that was amazing. I mean, the Brady Bunch set,
Oh yeah.
And the clothes, and oh my gosh.
All right, guys, let's go. Rehearsal's up. Kids.
We were together constantly, on and off the set.
Quiet, please. All right, let's settle.
We were a real family. And that's what made what was coming that much more unbelievable.
What were we doing?
Wait, what page? Page 21. Cindy, you shouldn't be listening in on other people's conversations. And if your father wasn't away on business, well, he'd say the same thing.
Business?
What? Nice. Lloyd, what's this?
Mike's not in this episode.
What? You mean just not this scene, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean this episode.
Is he sick or something?
Bob is fine, but he's having a hard time, so we're shooting without him.
Sure, this doesn't make sense. Well, Bob's never missed an episode. Everyone knows Mike Brady drops everything for his kids. I mean, he's not going to show up for his son's graduation?
Look, I understand all your concerns, and believe me, we're doing the best we can. But right now, what I need is for you all to get back to your rehearsal. It'll be all right. We'll work it out.
Is he coming back? No idea. Cindy, you shouldn't be listening in on other people's conversations. And if your father wasn't away on business, he'd say the same thing.
It was really fun.
That sounds fun. What was your initial reaction dressed as Carol or Florence, and you walk onto that Brady Bunch set that we grew up watching? What was that like?
Oh, it was
Magical.
just like, one of those where you pinch yourself kind of things, Lastly, I mean, another role I really love was Utah on Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, yes. We're
Just-
Trekkie fans here in the house.
Are you? Good job.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, no, I mean, what a sad story, right?
Today we have a guest host. His name is Rick Sarah, and he sent you in a question, and I would like to play the video that Rick Sarah had sent in for you with a question.
Hi Lisa, my name is Rick. By the time Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was being filmed, Fred Krueger and the franchise had become a pop phenomenon. Heather Langenkamp, Patricia Arquette, and Mark Patton all portrayed characters that would become iconic. What was your mindset in creating the character Alice, being in the same league as Nancy, Jesse, and Kristen?
Oh my goodness. What an honor. I mean, because you have to understand, I was already a huge Nightmare fan. I've loved scary movies, vampire movies, Frankenstein, Nightmare on Elm Street since forever, So so when I actually even got the audition, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? I can't, so, and I mean, and Heather Lane, Nancy, oh my gosh, so I was so excited. And what an honor. I mean, seriously, I was transfixed by A Nightmare on Elm Street. So they were
magical.
It was just a dream come true to get the role.
Pun intended. Pun intended. Yeah.
Wink,
great.
wink.
Wink,
You
wink.
got that one, did you?
I love it. Yeah. I love picking up on stuff like that. But thank you, Rick Sarah, for your donation to an animal charity and distressed animals or foundation. Again, I thank you for that. And we're going to move on here to our last questions to close out the episode here. Now, I have some staple questions that I usually ask all my guests. One of them ties in perfectly with you and with your role as Alice. What is the most terrifying nightmare that you recall having in your lifetime?
Most terrifying nightmare is a recurring nightmare I've had since I was young.
How rare are those?
And the way it goes is that I'm with my mother and we're at the zoo, and I'm very young in the dream, and she's I'm in her arm, on her arms. Let's say I'm like 4 years old. I'm talking, and we're visiting the monkeys and the gorillas, and a gorilla reaches through the bars, pulls me out of my mother's arms, and he takes me to the back of his cage, opens the door, and it's Planet of the Apes.
Oh. So,
and it's the scene, it's that real wide shot where the people are in the cart, and the cart is being pulled. And the grass is all
like
burnt.
Their cargo. Yeah.
Yes, and the dried grass and whatnot. Anyway, that's yeah.
What's your favorite horror movie ever?
Rosemary's Baby.
Do you have a favorite charity that you would like to promote?
It's called NAMI. It's all about mental illness and understanding mental illness and just beating the stigma, because 1 out of 5 people have a mental illness, and depression is also a mental state.
Yes.
That's in the mix. That's part of it too.
Yeah.
But 1 out of 5 will have something, and I have a member of my family who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I guess you won't mind saying it's my eldest son, and he's doing great.
That's good.
It's all about staying compliant on the medication.
Yes.
Yep. But he's fine, and he's married and has a baby. So
that's wonderful. I love a happy ending. So I really appreciate you coming onto the show today. And what I would like to do is to promote NAMI through the rest of my season. You're welcome. I still have about 20 more episodes. We're still early in the second season. So any donations made to NAMI will go toward my goal, and any of my perks that are available will also be available through a NAMI donation.
Appreciate it.
Yes, for
look
sure.
them up. You'll see the
Oh, I
phenomenal
will.
work that they're doing. My son was diagnosed almost, let's see, 32, about 17 years ago when he
Mhm.
was in his late teens. Long road for him to even get
Oh,
diagnosed,
oh,
I
I
can
bet.
assure you,
I bet.
because they have to diagnose, we like 7 different doctors till finally
hmm
we got the right one. Um, and anyway, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and NAMI offers free courses for
Oh,
those in the
wonderful.
family.
Look for the link to the NAMI Foundation. It's foundation, correct? Or just
Uh,
charity?
just NAMI,
Just
NAMI.
NAMI. All right. Look for the link for NAMI in the description below because that is a very,
I don't
very
think it
important
says foundation at
cause.
the end. I think it's just
No.
National Alliance of Mental Illness.
Okay. I'll include that.
And so I took the class, and it was a class that was once a week. They give you a huge binder of information, and you're with other people that are, their husbands or their children
Mhm.
or whatever have a mental illness. And I mean,
Yes.
and it was a free class. And I have a friend who was having trouble with her daughter, and I suggested NAMI. And so there's now actually there's a waiting list to get into this class, that it's well worth.
That's a good sign. It's a good sign that they're becoming that well known and they're helping that many people.
Absolutely. They've made huge strides since
Mhm.
I ran across them, like, 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I love the purpose. You stated about your son. I have people in my family too who are bipolar. I've dated someone who was schizophrenic, and we have depression. I suffered from depression a few weeks ago, and it was a dark time. So thank you for sharing that information for NAMI.
Yes.
Do you have anything that you want to let your fans know about that's coming up?
Yes, I do.
Yes,
Yes, actually, there's a
I
couple
love
things
this.
that are streaming right now, I think, on like all those platforms and whatnot.
hmm
One is called Mystery Spot.
Mystery Spot. I'm gonna write these
Yeah.
down too. Look in the description below for all these as well. Okay,
Okay.
Mystery Spot. Yes.
We filmed that in a little town of Hempstead, Texas. And I'm very proud of the work I did in the film. It's a lead role.
hmm
I also, another thing that's streaming right now is called Murder Anyone, with a question
Murder
mark.
anyone? Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds
Mystery
fun.
Spot, Murder Anyone. And this film, I actually won a Best Supporting Actress at the Hollywood Film Festival.
Oh, congratulations! Exciting.
Yeah. And it's not
Yeah.
a big role, and I'm at the end, but the movie, but just see the movie. The movie it's fun. It's
Yes,
really
we will
fun.
definitely be checking that out. I mean, it's got a fun name. How can you not want to watch a movie called Murder
Right?
Anyone?
Yeah,
That sounds
definitely.
great.
Yes.
Uh,
And then I've been filming a lot, and there'll be a lot of things coming out. I just finished a film last week called Desert Fiends, and filmed in Las Vegas. Here's another one too. It's not out yet. It's called Woods Witch. And actually I had the opportunity to work with Tom Sizemore.
Ah, nice.
Yes.
He's a brilliant
And then
actor.
yeah, and then just a delight. We had so much fun. We had a script, but this director was all about improv, and we just bit a bang. It was really fun. And then I'm going to a screening in a movie that'll be out called Don't Suck. And it's a comedy vampire thing. And do you know the comedian Jamie Kennedy?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I had scenes with him, and
That sounds fun.
and again, improv, I mean, he's a comedian. We did the script, but
Yeah.
he could do these one-liners and stuff. I was so nervous. I'm like, he's a professional comedian, for heaven's sakes, Oh my gosh.
So how did you hold up? How did you hold up with that?
He hugged me. He's like, Lisa, you are so fantastic. So it's later on, I let him know. I said, you have no idea how nervous I was. So we're kind of doing a rehearsal, and I'm so nervous, I'm shaking. And he says, are you cold? I'm like, yeah, I'm cold.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's like, let's get Lisa a sweater. Let her get a jacket until we start rolling. So after it's all said and done, I told him. Anyway.
That sounds
So that'll
fun.
be out.
these are great names too. I mean, Murder Anyone Don't Suck. These are now, quick question too, just based off what you just told me. When you're on the set, and I know you said a lot of directors do it the way written, and some let you ad lib. As an actor, what's gold for you? Is it following the written page, or being allowed to venture off and play with your character more freely?
I definitely like scripted,
Mhm.
I do, but it kind of depends on, like, some characters I've done, I don't know what the heck I would improv. Other characters I've played, just improv stuff just happened. Like this movie I just did, which is like a black comedy,
Mhm.
and this director does love improv and stuff. So the actor I was working with, Michael Pere, Michael Pere from Streets
Yeah,
of
the name.
Fire,
Yeah, the name is
80s
very,
movie.
very familiar. I know I've heard it. Yes.
You've seen him. I mean, he's
Yeah,
done tons of
I'll
stuff.
know his face. Yeah.
So he and I, we play husband and wife. So we had a lot of fun to, banter and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. It sounds like you've got a lot of great stuff coming out and a lot of things that you've done. And I can't wait to research these and start watching them. My closing question that I ask all my guests is, what do you want your legacy to be when you're gone?
Well, the legacy is, when you have fear, face your fear and fight your fear.
Thank you for coming on. I enjoyed hearing your stories, your behind the scenes, and all about NAMI, which, like I said, I will be promoting that for the rest of the second season. So,
Thank you.
listeners, thank you for joining this episode of the Terror Express. We've been thrilled to talk with Lisa Wilcox. And Lisa, thank you so much for being here
Thank
with us
you.
today. Thank
Good
you.
luck with your goal.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Ciao. Hey, Rick, Sarah, thank you for your fabulous question and for enjoying the show.